a senator is responsible for. And I look forward very much to working for those issues. Some of the key issues that I can see right now, these are the things that I'll be focused on, is number one, accountability. Our governance in this country, from what I've seen in the last 30 years, has been deplorable. And we need to get accountability back. Things like the budget, based on flawed assumptions that are so out of kilter with the real world. Things like our debt that is going through the roof. Things like a taxation system that has just been a patchwork of band-aids now for decades upon decades upon decades and is destroying this country. That's the first priority, accountability and restoring the Constitution. The second priority is cost of living pressures for people in this country. Families right around this country should be far more prosperous. We have an enormously productive country, or resourceful country, but our key resource is being squandered. The people of this country are not being well led, and we deserve to be well led. And again, it comes back to tax. Our tax system is a complete shambles. It is destroying jobs and destroying the future of this country. The third thing I'm going to focus on is security. Security in two forms. Security from terrorism and security economically. And again, it comes back to tax. A simple three-letter word, tax. It's destroying this country. So it's that security also of families, because, and I'm not talking about families the way other people talk about families. I'm talking about husbands and wives and their kids that are doing it tough because they're uncertain about their future, especially in regional Queensland, regional Australia, and I've lived in the regions. The second thing is the family law court, that some of the damage it's doing. I've heard some really horrific statistics about that in this country. People committing suicide, kids being separated from their fathers or mothers. And the other thing is, when someone raises an issue in this country today, we don't talk about the issue, we talk about them. And we talk about them being bigoted or racist. And that is not the Australian way of doing things. We need people to speak up freely and deliver what they really believe, and yet they get slammed for that. And I'm looking at 18C under the Racial Discrimination Act. That needs to be addressed because that is curbing free speech. And when we have free speech curbed, it means we don't talk about the real issues. Tax, Islam, terrorism, the economy. We don't talk about that, and they run rampant in the background. We need to come back and talk about the real issues. They're my priorities. But what I'd really like to do now is also say thank you. I want to say thank you particularly to Pauline Hanson. She approached me to run with her because she wanted someone who was not afraid to speak up. I want to thank a most remarkable man, one of the most remarkable people I've ever met, and that's James Ashby. You've all seen him a minute ago. I have rarely seen anyone with his competence and his ability, and when I've seen him work in really tough situations where integrity must be met and most people would fail, James has always stood up. His integrity has just staggered me, and it matches Pauline. And I come back to Pauline again. She's an inspiration for her courage, her honesty, and her persistence. That woman just doesn't give up. And that's what we need in Australia. People like James and Pauline in political parties.